I am 25 weeks pregnant with my first baby. Let me show you a little bump day. Look, got a little something going on here. It's just absolutely crazy. I spent years getting my mind and my body ready for this pregnancy because I was told my whole life how difficult it would be for me to become pregnant. I had cycle issues my whole life, ended up getting diagnosed with PCOS. And anyone with PCOS knows that you are just led to believe that you're set up for disaster when it comes to fertility or getting pregnant or having any sort of regular cycle or anything of that nature. So, when I tell you that we got pregnant so freaking fast, we weren't even really trying yet. So you could say pregnant on the first try because of all of those years of preparation. And when I think about everything that I did, it really boils down to four things on a macro level. And I want to share them because I feel like there's so much scarcity around getting pregnant these days. I don't know if it's just me and my social media feed and the conversations that I have, but it feels like everywhere you look, someone is having a hard time with conceiving or staying pregnant or just all of those things. So I just want to share my experiences and hopefully help squash some of those fears or anxieties for people and help give you some insight as to this is exactly what I did to get pregnant really fast, and it has been a beautiful pregnancy so far, and that's all I want for people. So I'm here in the nursery. I was just organizing some stuff, so I figured I'd flip the camera on and I want to talk to you about it. Okay, but first I just have to show you. I got to show you a little bit of the setup here. There's a lot to be done. Like a lot to be done. All of this stuff isn't even mine. My best friend had a baby like exactly a year before my baby will be born, so it just lined up perfectly with what I would need, and she was so generous in sharing all of her things. So I'm thinking, crib here. We got a beautiful bookcase over here. It's a simple room, but it's gonna be so cute and cozy by the time we get our hands on it. So I'm just organizing some stuff. I had to show you. Gotta show you. Okay, back to biz. There is so much noise because so many people are having struggles with fertility. At least that's my story. That there's so much noise in the space of do this, don't do this, right? There's supplements and there's different trackers and there's foods you're supposed to eat. There's foods you're not supposed to eat. Have sex and put your legs up for 30 minutes or only do it in this position. There's just way too much stuff out there. And I feel like the more that we try and spread our focus and attention on all of these different things versus pouring 100% of our focus into a few really solid fundamental things and our resources. This stuff costs money. That is what I did, and it paid off immensely, and I would do the same thing all over again. So here's the four things. The first thing that I did was lower my stress levels, and this was both mental and physical. I was the girl. Actually, I am the girl. I love chaos. I love to live in extremes. I love to push it to the absolute limit. I've always lived that way, and that's probably my baseline desire. So I really had to work to change my mindset and my habits in my life to be a little less chaotic and stressful. So instead of doing high intensity interval training and training for half marathons and marathons and seeing how fast I could do things or how heavy I could do things, I just really dialed it back and I focused on strength training and just lifting heavy, but being intentional and just doing things slower, and then incorporating walking and yoga. And I would say those are the three primary forms of exercise that I still to this day have been doing. And then in regards to the mental aspect, That was just setting boundaries with work or people and my sleep. Like instead of trying to get the most done in a day, I was setting that boundary and like really making sure that I was going to sleep so that I was more resilient, because we're not going to have zero stress in our life. But when it came, I'd be more resilient to it because I was actually allowing myself to get proper sleep, but then also being active and intentional about lowering it in those other areas of my life. That was a big one. It was a big adjustment for me because I love the chaos. But it paid off so immensely. I have no regrets, and I'm loving this, soft, calm life. And that's what I want. That's what I want our baby to grow up in. So I'm really proud of that. The second thing was developing a network of providers that I loved and trusted, as well as just different resources. So a lot of the times in the beginning, I would go to an OBGYN and I would see one person and they would give me their opinion, and I would just take that and use that as the framework and the story and my roadmap for what all this was supposed to be. And then I got to a point where I was like, no, screw that. Like, I can figure this out. The answers are out there. The person who can help me is out there. I just need to find them. And so I really went through a couple of different doctors and my nurse, I'm a nurse. I don't practice right now, but that definitely helped me in being able to advocate for myself and understand things a little bit easier. But still, I went to a few different doctors, and it felt so weird and goofy in the beginning because you're like, I have no actual probably need to do this, but I just really want their opinion, and I'm trying to kind of like put the pieces together myself about getting different perspectives. So went and saw a few doctors, and I would take a little bit from everybody and use my own intuition and say like, okay, how deep is this person going, and trying to figure out what's going on and what are they willing to look at or dig deeper into to figure out how to help me. And so I probably went through 4 doctors before I found one. I still see them, freaking love them. They left no stone unturned in helping me figure out my PCOS, why I had PCOS, the intricacies of what that meant, and what we needed to do in order to get my body optimized to be able to not only get pregnant, but then stay pregnant too. So that was such a big thing. Like, we tried to just figure it out ourselves and not really look under the hood as to like our labs. And I got labs and ultrasounds and all these things. Like, we really left no stone unturned when it came to figuring my body out and getting everything absolutely prepared. And it doesn't stop there. I did a lot of my own work and a lot of my own research because I knew that no one, whether I was paying them or not or whatever, no one will care about my health or my fertility as much as I will. And so I really took things into my own hands, and I'd buy books. I would listen to podcasts. I would read research articles, and I was doing a lot of work on my own so that I could understand the cycle and the conception and different things that I could be doing on my own to supplement what I was doing with the doctors. And those two things, I think each are important, but together, absolute powerhouse of a team and a framework of getting me pregnant. So getting a provider that I loved, and really just putting my head down and doing the work and trying to understand things for myself as well. Number 3 was getting in tune with my body. Kind of alluding before of me loving chaos and all of those things. And being an athlete, I played sports forever. I was just trained to put my head down, ignore me being tired, ignore the noise of me saying slow down or stop, so that I could be a great athlete or be a great student. And that really kind of kicked me in the ass when it came to trying to get my body optimized for pregnancy and getting pregnant, because our body gives us a lot of cues, and if you ignore them for too long, it'll get stressed. And what happened with me was my body was so stressed that it said, okay, well, clearly something's going on. She's not in a place where it's safe enough or healthy enough for her to have a baby. And so really working back on understanding my cues and listening to them, and asking myself if I was stressed or where in my body I was stressed. Am I tired? Am I hungry? Like, it sounds so silly and so simple, but it really was something that I hushed for so long. And it was uncomfortable at first because it just feels weird. Something that helped me a lot with that is my Oura ring, or like a Whoop, or a device that I could open, and it would help give me data to actually, give some more evidence as to like what I might have been feeling, which is, again, so freaking weird because it sounds like such a simple thing, but I really didn't trust myself to be able to answer honestly or not work out that day because my body was screaming that it actually needed rest. So to be able to open my Oura app and be like, you slept like dump, your readiness level is subpar, maybe just go for a walk today instead of going to that workout class. So I worked really hard to get in tune with my body, and I still use my Oura ring today because I'm not foolproof. Like, I still have that mentality in my head even after all of this work that I've done. So getting in tune with my body. And the last one, which is probably the most important, was belief that pregnancy was meant for me and motherhood was meant for me. Like, kind of makes me emotional to like think about and talk about, but I, in my core, knew that it was destined for me. I had many conversations with God, and there's times when that kind of falters a little bit and you're thinking like, man, this journey is really long and there's a lot of unknown. But at the end of the day, I just so truly believed that this would happen for me. Like I said before, the answers are out there, the people are out there. I just need to find them. And I need to practice what I preach and be patient, and this is really, really meant for me. But beyond just the belief in that was living my life as if I meant it, or as if I truly thought that. So just thinking it and then being this crazy girl who did these crazy workouts and, said she wanted a baby but wasn't willing to actually practice those things is one thing. But I believed it in my core, but then I would set up my habits and my relationships to really emulate that. And so I was just leaning into being a little bit more soft and, allowing my husband to lead our family a little bit in ways that maybe I was trying to do it before for us. And just getting on the same page with him of being like, I really desire this and I really want this. And, letting him hold me accountable to those things too, and just opening the conversation up to the possibilities and the potential of it all. And
it's easy to get down, and it's easy to think that it's not meant for you. But I just, unless you don't have the anatomy, or, there's just things that can't be explained, I really believe that the answer is out there for people. And we just have to persevere and find it. Because, man, like, this experience is just the best. And there's a lot, like, you're going to be a great mom, and you are meant for it. I don't know. I just really believe that in my core. Yeah. It has been such a journey getting here. So many ups and downs and doctor appointments and all the things. But I am so grateful for it all. I couldn't be more thrilled. We're getting so excited. But I know that this topic is really hard for people, and it can feel really isolating, and it can feel really defeating. So I am very sensitive to that, but hopefully my experience has showed you that, like, that this is freaking meant for you, and hopefully you can find some positivity and comfort in that, just to keep going. But I know I kept things pretty high level, so if there's something that you want me to go deeper on, or you have questions about, I really am an open book, and I would love to help in any way that I absolutely can, or share my experiences or anything. So let me know. Thanks for being here. Thanks for following along, and I will see you next time.